Hi, my name is Mr. Matson, and I will be guiding you through this presentation. Today, we will be looking at one of the latest technology trends in education, flipped learning. So, what exactly is flipped learning? Flipped learning completely upends the traditional face-to-face classroom experience. Basically, you do homework at school and schoolwork at home, but it is so much more than that. The Flipped Learning Network defines flipped learning as a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction moves from the group learning space to the individual learning space, and the resulting group space is transformed into a dynamic interactive learning environment where the educator guides students as they apply concepts and engage creatively in the subject matter. Again, what has traditionally been schoolwork is done at home, and homework is done at school. Instead of practicing principles on their own, students have the help of an expert, their teacher, as they become masters of the content. This new pedagogical approach to instruction is heavily reliant on technology. I will guide you through some of the key points of flipped learning in order to help you better understand what exactly it is. Those key points are: first, flipped learning is intended for face-to-face classrooms. It simply would not work as intended in a strictly online setting. Second, it replaces the traditional class style. Third, the teacher first finds or creates videos that teach the concepts and principles being studied in the lesson or unit. Fourth, after the teacher makes the videos available, students can watch them on their own time. Fifth, students self-pace their own instruction. They can re-watch the videos or pause to take notes. Sixth, students have the ability to watch videos from any device. Seventh, class time is now used to practice new skills and master the content, instead of being used to inform students of what the content is. Eighth, during class, the teacher guides students as they develop the skills being learned. Ninth, through flipped learning, students become more active learners. And 10th, students are able to receive more feedback from the teacher, from peers, and through experimentation with the content. Let's talk about these points individually. First, flipped learning is intended for face-to-face classroom interactions. The main point of flipped learning is that it enables students to practice skills with the additional help of having the teacher there as a guide. While this would be possible through a Google Hangout or a group Skype, it is much more effective to have the teacher in the room providing feedback and modeling the correct methods. The traditional classroom can be a thing of the past as educators embrace new technologies. Goodbye boring lectures, goodbye tedious busy work, goodbye homework anxiety. Second, a flipped classroom is not equivalent to flipped learning. Teachers have assigned materials for students to review outside of the class for years. In order for flipped learning to occur, the 4 pillars must exist. They are a flexible learning environment in which students determine where and when they learn, a student-centered learning culture that requires active student involvement, intentional content meant to enhance valuable classroom time, and professional educators that give continuous feedback and are constantly assessing. Third, flipped learning requires the teacher to either find or create pertinent video presentations that replace in-class instruction. A teacher can go to websites such as YouTube or the Khan Academy to find existing video presentations, or he or she can create their own instructional videos. While making your own videos is more time-consuming, it is good for students to learn directly from you. Once the videos are found or created, share a link to the videos along with any other information needed to access the videos with the students. Fourth, students watch the videos on their own time. This is a crucial point to flipped learning. The student watches the instructional videos outside of the classroom, wherever he or she is most comfortable. The student can control the learning environment. Fifth, students control the pace of their instruction. Because they are able to watch the videos outside of class, students are able to self-pace. Miss that key phrase? Rewind the video. Pause to take notes. Call a friend to discuss the video. Stop in the middle to grab a snack. It is entirely up to the student. Sixth, students can watch the content from any connected device. Because the videos are made available to the students to view online, they can watch from any connected device. This opens up the possibility of starting the video on the bus on a phone and finishing at home on a tablet. Seventh, class time is now used to practice skills, what would traditionally be done as homework. In flipped learning, the stress of trying to figure out the practical use of the content disappears. Instead of attempting to learn how to use the skills on their own, students now have the guidance of a paid professional, their teacher. Eighth, the teacher guides skill development. Because the time in class is now being used for skill development instead of knowledge acquisition, the time a teacher traditionally spent teaching the basics can now be spent on guiding students to become true masters of the content. Ninth, in flipped learning, students become more active learners. As students are allowed more opportunities to actually put what they are learning into practice, they will become more excited about what they are learning and will be more engaged during class time. 10th, in flipped learning, students receive much more feedback than they do in traditional classrooms. Instead of only receiving feedback in the form of a grade or a corrected homework assignment, students receive frequent active feedback on their practical use of the content that they are learning. In review, flipped learning is a new pedagogical approach that replaces the traditional classroom model. Honestly, the traditional classroom can be boring and is too teacher-centered. Flipped learning will allow the teachers to put the focus back on the students, where it belongs. As teachers shift to this new student-centered approach, they will find that their students are more active and engaged as they are allowed to put into practice what they have learned. Instead of simply knowing the content, students will begin to progress towards mastering the content being taught. Flipped learning is a great way to elevate a classroom. Although the classroom is more student-centered, the teacher is more important than ever as he or she guides students in exploring the content and skills that will prepare them for future success in careers and education.
Created using Powtoon.